Hi, my name is Ching and welcome back to Data Structures in C++. In the last lecture, we talked about binary trees and their terminologies. We also did an exercise to traverse binary trees. Today, we are going to talk about one specific type of binary tree, the binary search tree. The binary search tree is designed to efficiently solve the binary search problem. We will first show some examples. Then we will dive into the implementations of its core member functions. Let's first discuss how to define a binary search tree, or BST. Binary search trees are binary trees that have a few more restrictions. First, all the nodes in the left subtree must be less than the root value. Second, all the nodes in the right subtree must be greater than the root value. But that isn't enough. The binary search tree is defined recursively, which means that both the left and right subtrees are binary search trees by themselves. Let's look at some examples of binary search trees. All of them store different data types. The first tree stores integer data. The second tree stores char data. The last tree stores binary numbers. As we can see, as long as the data type is comparable, it can be stored in a binary search tree. Sometimes binary search trees may not look like a tree. For example, you can create a binary search tree that is equivalent to a linked list. This diagram shows a binary search tree that is essentially a linked list. But if you check the values at each node, it follows the definition of binary search trees. This degenerate shape may cause some performance issues, which we'll discuss later in this course. You might have guessed with the same set of data, the shape of the binary search tree is not unique. As we will see later in this lecture, it depends on how we build the tree. For example, all of these trees store the same data, but they have very different shapes. Since binary search trees are a special type of binary tree, they will follow the same definition of binary trees, but with additional member functions to support binary search. Let's start from the node class. First, we have a variable to store data. Second, we have a left and right pointer for the left and right subtrees. For convenience, we implement a constructor which creates a node within the given data. We also implement the two helper functions to check whether this node is a leaf node or a full node. With the node defined, let's try the tree class for the core operations. First, the binary search tree only needs to know the root node to access everything else. Then we define the core operations. The first two are to get the maximum and the minimum values of this tree, then followed by the find, insert, and remove traverse functions. The traverse function print in order is simply the in-order traversal from the last lecture, so we will skip that. We will discuss the other functions in detail one by one. First, let's see how to find the minimum value in a binary search tree. Following the definition of binary search trees, the minimum value must be smaller than the root, so we can search in the left subtree. We continue this process recursively until we cannot find any left child. Or in other words, we keep going left until we find the leftmost node. To implement the recursion, we need a way to revise the parameter, but the function getMin doesn't have any parameters. So we create another helper function called getMin2, which takes the root of the current subtree as the parameter. This function will take the root of the left subtree as the new parameter and call itself recursively until it hits an empty node. Because each step goes down along the tree, by one level, so the runtime is in the order of the height of the tree. Now we know how to find the minimum value. Finding the maximum value is exactly the same, except we follow the right subtree recursively. The code is almost the same as getmin. We only need to change from left to right. The runtime is also in the order of the height of the tree. But what if we want to find an individual node in the tree? This means we need to traverse the tree based on linear relationships. For example, if we need to find the node 81, we will start from the root node. Since 81 is larger than 42, we go to the right side. Then we compare with the node 70. Then we go to the right side again. But at the node 99, we choose to go to the left side because 81 is smaller than 99. Next, we compare with the node 92 and keep moving to the left until we find 81. That means we return true. Otherwise, if we hit an empty node, that means we didn't find the value. Then we return false. In this case, we try to find the node 36. By following the search path, it will end up with the right child of the node 34, which is an empty child. So the search fails. Let's translate this process to a recursive implementation. First, the find function only takes the value as the parameter, which won't change during this process. So we need a helper function find2 to take the root of the tree so that we can revise it recursively. Then inside the recursive function find2, we check the item value with the root value and decide whether we should continue in the left or right subtree. If we hit an empty node, then the search fails. If we find the value, then the search succeeds. Again, this algorithm moves down along the tree one level at a time, so the runtime is also in the order of the height of the tree. Now let's talk about the insert function. There is one important fact here. Wherever we insert into a binary search tree, the insert will always happen at a leaf node. Let's see some examples of this. In this example, we insert the value 52. First, we need to find where we should insert the new value. We use the same algorithm as the find function we discussed previously. If this new value doesn't exist in the tree, then we will end up with an empty node. In other words, the new value will be inserted as a leaf node. But what if we find the value already exists in the tree? We can support duplicate values in the binary search trees easily. We will show that in the code soon. In this case, we followed the find algorithm and reached the left child of node 54, which is an empty node. After we've located where to insert the value, we first create a leaf node to hold the value 52. Second, we assign the new node as the left child of the node 54. The implementation of the insert function is very similar to the find function. Here is how we handle the duplicate values. We can simply extend the right subtree to contain all values larger or equal to the root value. That's why this process always reaches an empty node and will create a new node to hold the value there. Or alternatively, if we don't allow duplicate values, we can just stop the process once we found the value exists in the tree. The runtime is the same as the find function, which is OH, where H is the height of the tree. Now let's move on to the remove function. The remove function is a lot more complicated than the previous functions because we need to handle 3 different scenarios. The first scenario is if the node to remove is a leaf node. such as 40 and 75. The second scenario is if the node has one child, such as 8 or 99. Last of all, we have a scenario where the node is a full node, such as 42. Let's discuss them one by one. Let's start from the first scenario, which is removing a leaf node. For example, if we remove 75, we can set the left child of node 81 as null and destroy the node 75. Then we got this. The second scenario is when we remove a node with one child, such as if we remove the node 8. In this case, we just replace 8 with its subtree, which is 3. This operation is also called a promotion, since now 3 is promoted from the grandchild of node 11 to the direct child. This is how the tree looks like after we remove the node 8. The left pointer of node 11 is updated to point to the node 3. Of course, don't forget to destroy the node 8. What if the node to remove has one child, but that child is a subtree? Don't worry about that, since there is no difference between promoting a subtree or a single node. For example, to remove the node 39, we simply promote the node 11. Then the whole subtree of node 11 is also promoted altogether. This is what the tree looks like when we are done removing the node 37 and promoting the subtree of node 11. Everything is still in order. Now it comes to the most tricky scenario. What about removing a full node from a binary search tree, such as 42? In other words, we want to remove the root of a tree which has both the left and right child. The first thing we need to think about is, after removing this root, who is going to be the new root? To maintain the order of binary search trees, we have two options. We can either pick the maximum value from the left subtree or the minimum value from the right subtree. Either way works fine. Let's just pick the second option. So let's replace the node 42 with the minimum node in the right subtree. This can be done by calling the findMin function on the right subtree. In this example, it is the node 47. Then we remove the node 47 from the right subtree. But does removing the node 47 need to handle 3 scenarios again? Fortunately, this node can only be a leaf or have one right child, because if it had a left child, then the node 47 wouldn't be the minimum value of the subtree. Let's illustrate it step by step. First, we replace 42 with 47. Now we have 2 copies of 47 in the tree. Then we take the right subtree and call the remove function again on 47. In this example, 47 is a leaf node. Now we remove the node 47 as the first scenario. We set the left pointer of 51 to null, and we destroy the node 47. Note that after all of that, the tree is still sorted, so this operation completes. Now let's suppose we want to remove the root 47 again. In order to do that, we find the smallest node in the right subtree, which is 51, which itself only has one right child. Then we replace 47 with 51. After replacing the root with 51, we have a copy of 51 in the right subtree. Our next step is to delete 51 from the subtree. That is the second scenario of the remove function, where we simply promote its single child. This means we need to promote 51's child to be 70's left child. Now 51's child is the whole subtree we must promote. We delete the node 51 and assign the subtree to 70's left pointer. The resulted tree is still correctly sorted, so we are done. This is the sample code for the remove function. First, we recursively search for the node in the tree. Second, we check if the node is a leaf node, a full node, or a node with one child. Last of all, if full node, we delete the minimum value in the right subtree after copying it to the full node. The runtime consists of two parts. First, the search, it is OH. Second, the actual removing for the leafed and child scenarios. It can be done in constant time. For the full node scenario, it is simply removing from the subtree with only the first two scenarios. So in total, the remove function will run in OH time. In summary, we talked about binary search trees and how they are defined. Then we moved on to the core operations of binary search trees, which all run in OH time, where H is the height of the current tree. But as we mentioned earlier, the binary search trees can be unbalanced. Thus, the height can be as large as the size of the whole tree. That would defeat the whole purpose of it. Now you might ask, what if we could keep the tree balanced? Wouldn't that solve the problem? That's exactly what I'm going to talk about next time. This concludes today's lecture. Have fun and happy coding. I'll see you next time. Bye.